This scene and the one happening behind me have quite a lot happening. Let's break that down. To begin, have a look at this. And then this. To bring more context, these areas are out of player bounds, interest, or action. And if we just turn around the other way to look towards the absolute play area, but just a bit away from it, we see this. Right. So the reason I kind of wanted to show this to you guys was mainly because of how smart I think war games in general are. They use a lot of chaos and technical elements in their environment to make their game feel more alive. However, this actually contributes to a lot more than just the visual aspect, right? I feel like this is what makes the player feel smaller and hardcodes their brain into actually cooperating more with their team because they just feel like they're too small to do things alone. However, that's a different topic. I do want to do an entire scene breakdown. I do want to talk more about all the concepts that I take from games like this and want to implement in my game. And I'm also going to show you guys what I have done in my game so far. But first, we kind of have to rewind back into the last devlog, which was around. To make sure you guys have more context, this was what my last devlog looked like, and I'll be going over each change as it was introduced. To begin with, the first feature I added since this was leaning. It was the feature I always wanted to add, and it just felt like it suited the pace that I was aiming for. Then came the damage indicators. It's something that I couldn't bother doing on my own since I already had an asset, so who cares, right? And then I decided to showcase the new character model with the worst possible video ever. I'll be adding some pics over here in the video to give you a better representation, but yep. The next thing I did was remove the existing recoil system and add a procedural recoil system. This time I had left the recoil incomplete to visit and work on later. I then added flashlights, which I also left incomplete. So at this point I was starting to lose direction. Losing direction in terms of the game mode, and I started trying a lot of different stuff. I will explain the game mode later. However, to break that story short, it's just a conquest game mode pretending not to be conquest. Then I started getting ambitious and I started working on two different things. One was a procedural terrain generation algorithm, and the other is actually fixing my game. By fixing, I mean writing better multiplayer code. In the midst of working on this project, I had a trip to Australia, and on my way back in the 12-hour flight, I decided to make a smaller scaled multiplayer game. This game would later help me figure out that my current code for this game sucks, and I need to rewrite all of it. And I couldn't make longer cry about this, so I started with the most broken and important aspect: movement. The ad sprinting setup on my character was completely broken and would cause rubber banding at expected ping rates. Looking deeper into the subject, I then implemented client-side prediction, something I did not know all multiplayer games needed at the very base. The issue at hand was, it wasn't just this that was bad. It was almost everything that needed to be either fixed or rewritten. I also took that opportunity to transfer all my code from blueprints to C++ as I had figured that blueprints are unreliable with networking or multiplayer in general. I then also added turn in place and actual aim offset animations to just have better look to the game. And honestly, things were starting to get real busy. I published my first book and went on to writing my second one. I started working on title, which literally paused all my work for my FPS shooter for the time. I got busy with my college, started working in my family business more seriously, and then scored a full-time job, which also took away a lot of my time. Time became more and more of a valuable resource as more and more things started demanding it. I had taken longer breaks from my game, but I had finally found some inspiration and direction I wanted to go towards. I wanted to feature different game modes that were authentic in their own manner, and that's when I found it.
He's only his knife out. Face AFK, bro. Fuck these guys. Kill them. They want to use the AA. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So watching this video was a game changer for me. This gave me the exact direction that I wanted to work on towards for my game modes. This was like textbook material for me, right? And this was just everything. This is exactly how I wanted to work on my game. And let me explain what I mean by that. The game mode I had come up with was basically a conquest game mode. However, it would feature an entirely procedurally generated level. So each time you play, it's different. To add on to that, I wanted to do something unconventional to begin with. That unconventional would be the very basis of combat. Inspired from the video that I just showed, I was planning to take combat a bit away from the LAN. Adding bots in my game took a lot more effort, but was absolutely cool to see work out. I think the devlog's already too long and boring, and I don't want to make it worse by showing you guys the broken parts or bugs that I encountered. So yeah, just look at the actual product. The best part was that I made my approach to making a boat very modular. I made a chair component which, when attached to any game object, would turn it into a seatable object for my character, which meant it was now time to add in the choppers. Then what was to come would be the most efficient and productive phase of my game. All the changes that would be made would either be fixing broken bad code, adding in new stuff, or just finishing what was left incomplete. I would then go on to learning how to engineer my own sound samples, and then I would use them to make sound variants for the heli you just listened to, and the weapons having distance variants for each shots. I worked a lot more on the PCG algorithm then. This was to polish and get my game mode going, however I had more issues at hand. The terrain I was then trying to work on wasn't coming out as I wanted it to, and I had limited time to push a build as I decided to use this project for my college graduation showcase. Whilst the terrain was troubling me, I had also come to the conclusion that my scope for the project was too much. I've added a lot of stuff and it wouldn't suffice a good submission. And the large scale of the project made me think that it would be hard for me to focus in general, work and perfect the smaller and more important aspects of the project. So I took steps back, made a simpler PvP based game mode and published a build for my college. Then I would showcase my game in college. Disappointed with how my game is, I would decide upon a roadmap to henceforth work and focus on more important aspects of the game. I'd also use the money that I was making from my job to get an animator who would animate reloading animations for my game since I was bad at them. Right. Hey guys, thank you for watching the video if you have watched it up until now. I know that this devlog is a little bit boring and I just couldn't make it better because I'm running on time constraints. But if you would like more constant upgrades, if you updates, if you would like to get notified of my progress and stuff, if you'd like to see all the changes that are being made, I would recommend you join my Discord server. There you'll just see kind of everything and you'll have more input into what are the stuff that I'm doing, stuff like writing my book and making different projects or just in general all the stuff that I'm talking about. And yeah, I'm just gonna thank you so much. I'm gonna play a little video of my game that I made within 10 minutes that will just show you what give you an idea of what it looks like right now. But yeah, that's it. Bye.
For the money and got to coming for your head. 몰라 머리카락 빨리 숨어 better duck before they find you dead. 기회는 한번 되지 마 버벅 walker 우리는 못 나빠 손에 안 잡혀 진짜로 위험해 왜 자꾸 시험해 better quit testing me ay 막 그래 next to me ay 눈앞에 보이는 대로 줄 세워서 한 명씩 뚜뚜뚜 rest in peace on the bird so them birds pull up on the bird so them birds pull up yeah 다시 갚아 쏘고 다시 가지 넌 바지 잡고 대방전 I just wanna pop a bottle fuck a 사실 없어